yes, she's been singing in choir. We met.
Okay, I just wondered if you guys are connected. One person did not, so I wanted to take that person.
Was this?
Oh, you got a whole plan. I was just trying. Do you know John? John Mott,
Hi.
Schwartz.
Nice to meet you.
Fine. I got to do something of value.
Glad you reminded me because I might not have remembered. So.
Yeah.
No worries. She's still got about 9 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just watch me because you'll know what the song is.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Just make yourself comfortable and find me afterwards. Okay, you're welcome.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברמים גם יחד. 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 How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברמים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברמים גם יחד. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברמים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברמים גם יחד. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברמים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברמים גם יחד. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And Shabbat Shalom to those of you joining us virtually this evening. That still feels very strange to say. Even now we are a year and a half in on that. We've been virtual for quite some time, but I never felt like we were more virtual than we were real. That doesn't make sense.
Whatever real means.
You all are real.
Are we real? That's the question.
Are we real? Exactly. All right, we got a lot of thunder going on. So I read a really beautiful piece by Rabbi David Wolpe earlier this week I want to share with you. It's let me put it forward as sort of a meditation to bring us into this Shabbat. He writes, when my brother and I were kids, we would go into the front yard and play egg toss. The idea of the game was to move farther and farther from one another and toss the egg so that the other could catch it without allowing the shell to break. A lot of us have played this game before. My mother did not approve of the game, he writes. He says the key to success was to move your hands with the egg as it arrived. If you caught it with your hands fixed, the egg would most certainly break. But if you could move with it, you had a chance of keeping it intact. That simple action is true with relationships as well. Inflexibility breaks. Movement preserves. As the Talmud instructs, one should be flexible as a reed and not unyielding as a cedar. Hearts can be broken against a wall, but softness and kindness can cradle them as the egg in one's hand and keep them whole. And when I read this, I thought, that is so much what it seems we need at this time, this flexibility and movement, that the longer we wear these, and these are so important, right, for keeping us healthy and safe, but the longer we wear them, the more we see others not wearing them. The longer we've been vaccinated, the more we see others refusing and denying science or whatever it might be, the more inflexible and rigid it seems we tend to move towards that space. And even though we still need to be careful and protect ourselves and protect our neighbors, we don't want to lose this ability to be flexible and move with each other. The idea that because I may think differently than you or you from me doesn't mean you're bad, just means you have a different way of seeing things. And I need to say, not move away, but tell me why you see it that way. Tell me how you understand that. So I don't know, maybe it's just for me, but maybe for you as well. I need a reminder of this, to move and to be flexible so that we can care for each other rather than break against one another as we move into this Shabbat. And it's pretty terrific because we are celebrating the bat mitzvah of Larissa Grossman this weekend. I don't even know how that's possible, but somehow you are becoming bat mitzvah. I just feel like you were 2 the other day, but apparently not. And Larissa is going to help lead a part of our service this evening, which is great. We're going to start by asking Larissa and her mom, dad, and brother Jacob come forward and light our Shabbat candles. And as they come forward, I'm going to ask you to please read with me. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav V'tzivanu lahadlik ner V'tzivanu lahadlik la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la.
So, I've said times before when we've been preparing to sing the words of Lecha Dodi that this song is one that our ancestors sang as they danced out in the fields in northern Israel and Tzfat, high above the Galilee. They would dress themselves in white as though they were preparing as a groom might prepare to meet a bride, or a partner might prepare to meet their beloved, and you might put on just your finest and sort of newest attire to do so. And they would sing these words of Lecha Dodi, which is this acrostic love poem between the people Israel and God. And so what does that mean for us? We're here in Nashville, Tennessee. We're nowhere near the Galilee or the heights of Tzfat. Why is it that when we come to this last verse, we stand and turn and face the door for this metaphoric love of ours to walk through? And I really think it's a song about hope, right? Because when we stand in that last verse and we face the sanctuary doors in anticipation of what might come through, it's the same reason we open the door at the Seder for Elijah. It's this idea that with every single day, there's the promise and opportunity that something really incredible might come our way, that there's a new and better moment in front of us. It's the ultimate essence of tikva, of hope, which of course we know is our Israeli national anthem, HaTikva, the hope. Hope is what it means, I think, to be a Jew, to always have this positive, optimistic sense that tomorrow could be even better than today, that we may be even better tomorrow than we are today. So we sing together the words of Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, lecha kala, yalala, 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 Bnei Shabbat, lekabela. Lecha Dodi, lecha kala, yalala, 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 Bnei Shabbat, lekabela. Shamor ezachor, bedibor echad, ishme'anu. Shabbat, lekabela. Lecha Dodi, lecha kala, yalala, 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 Bnei Shabbat, lekabela. Lekat Shabbat, lechu lecha, ki makor habracha, merosh mekedem.
So before you sit, I'm just going to invite you to say hello to someone you have not met. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom. You can do the elbow, the fist bump, whatever you feel comfortable with, but just meet someone new, wish them Shabbat Shalom. Or someone you already know that you haven't seen. We don't care. Larissa. And I'm going to invite you to stay standing for just one more moment because the amazing, I know you're getting comfortable, the amazing Larissa Grossman is going to lead us in the words of Hatzi Kaddish.
Okay. Yet Kadav Yet Kadash Meraba.
Amen.
Ba'alma Divrach Yute, Ve'amlik Malhute, B'chayachon Uviom Mechon, Uvkayed Kol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala Uvizman Kari, V'yimeru Amen, Yehish Meraba Bevora, Ve'olam Kol Me'amaya, Yet Bara, Yet Brav Yishtabav, Viet Bar, Viet Chaman, Viet Nase, Viet Hatar, Viet Halel, Viet Halal, Shemei Kudish Barichu, Leila Minko Birchata, Vishirata, Tushbekata, Venechemata, Dami Rambelma, Viemeru, Amen.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam
Please find your seat. And as you do, we just acknowledge that, yes, it's a little cloudy because it's raining out, but also the evening is coming. And evening happens to be this moment of twilight, I think one of the most beautiful times of day. It's meditative, it's serene, it can be entrancing. And so we acknowledge the beauty in each moment, and the beauty in this one in particular with the words of Mariv Aravim.
Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 ya da 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 da. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher bidvaro mariv aravim mariv aravim Bechokma poteach she'arim V'bitbuna meshane itim Umachaliv et hazmanim Usedar et hachochavim B'mishmerotehem Barakia kitzono Borei yom v'layla
I invite you to close your eyes if you'd like to and take a deep breath in before we sing together the words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you're sitting in your house, when you're walking by the way, and when you're lying down, and when you're rising up, and when you're rising up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
You'll hear me say in a little bit that the holy days are upon us. We've entered this month of Elul, the Hebrew month that ends with the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, the new year. And so this is a meditation that I was shared with me by another rabbinic colleague earlier this week. It's not Jewish per se, but it seemed to me to be quite fitting for the disposition we want to take on and sort of own as we enter these holy days. So these are rules for being human. Number one, you will receive a body and you will learn lessons. There are no mistakes, only lessons. A lesson will be repeated until it is learned. Learning lessons does not end. There is no better than here. Others are merely mirrors of you. What you make of your life is up to you. Life is exactly what you think it is. Your answers lie inside of you. You will forget all of this, but you can remember it whenever you want. And I'll add, Yom Kippur comes to remind us in case we forget. Together we sing the words of Mi Chamocha. So Rabbi Flip, who is our tech master, still funny to say that, here at Congregation Micah, he created these intro slides for each of our prayers so we could know what the theme of the prayer was. So Hashkivenu, our next prayer, is known to be a prayer for protection. But I think Hashkivenu, again, it's one of these prayers of hope and optimism. Night falls and we go to sleep, and the rabbis teach us that sleep is 1/60th of death, meaning when we go to sleep, we really relinquish all control. We have all these crazy dreams that we don't get to necessarily sort of choreograph before we go to sleep, and we just presume that we'll wake up in the morning to a day renewed, but it's not certain. So there's this element of fear and faith that goes into the nighttime for us. And so we may perhaps be asking for protection, but I think we're also sort of making a statement of hope that tomorrow will come and this will be a safe night for us. The whole service is really about giving us a position of hope and optimism. Join us.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake in morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
So you know we like to do and listen to and experiment with all kinds of music here at Congregation Micah. We are very fortunate to have an incredible musical director and amazing accompanists who allow us to do that. This next piece, Yismechu, is a prayer you've heard so many times and sung with us, but this may be a tune you're not as familiar with, although Cantor Jeffrey Klepper, who wrote the piece, has been writing Jewish music for decades. In fact, when I was a college student, he was the cantor at the synagogue I attended in Evansville, Illinois, Beth Emmet. So anyway, thank you, Miss Lisa, for bringing this to us.
ישמחו ומלכוך שומרי שבת ישמחו ומלכוך בקוראי עונג ישמחו ומלכוך שומרי שבת ישמחו ומלכוך בקוראי עונג עמד קדשי שומרי שבת ישמחו במלכותך בקוראי עונג ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת ישמחו במלכותך בקוראי עונג.
We rise together for the words of the Amidah.
Adonai tzifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov. Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chatadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer uMoshiach uMagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia. Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechayei hakol b'rachamim rabim. Somech noflim ve'rofech cholim, umatir asurim. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מחמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We invite you to take the next few moments for your own silent prayers, meditations of the heart. Please find your seat when you're ready.
Adonai Tzuri v'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, be acceptable to you. God, my rock and my redeemer. God, my rock and redeemer. Amen.
We think of those in our community who are in need of healing on this Shabbat and offer a prayer that reminds us to reach out, check in on those who are in need, either of healing of body or healing of soul. We think of Steve Geringer, Savannah Morris, Jane Sherberg, Paul Richter, Crystal Miller, Charlie Bowe, Monette Chance, Mickey Collins, Karen Eisner, TJ Cohen, Dick Eskind, Steve Gould, B.B. Weinstein, Alex Morgan, Bill Drongowski, Mark Cohen, Rudy Saperstein, Polly Lankford, Lee Cohen, Clarence Yarborough and Connie Yarborough, Gail Hooper, Julie Collins, Edria Ragison, and Janice Grossman. Please share the names of others you're thinking of as my hand moves around the sanctuary.
Dear God of our ancestors,
Dear God of our ancestors,
help us renew our faith.
help us renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to all our days.
Restore our strength of body.
Restore our strength of body.
Help clarify our mind.
Help clarify our mind.
Refresh our tired spirit.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Rejuvenate our lives.
Rejuvenate our lives.
blessings.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Throughout our days and nights.
Throughout our days and nights.
We celebrate the journey.
We celebrate the journey.
This precious gift of life.
This precious gift of
Elna Refana La Refana Lanu.
Elna Refana La Refana Lanu. Elna Refana La Refana Lanu. Elna Refana La Refana Lanu. The first question asked of the human being in the Torah, back in Genesis, Bereshit, it's God's question of Adam. God says to Adam, "Where are you?" Pay attention to the Torah's questions. We must read them as if they were italicized, written in red, or underlined. For the questions capture the essence of the Torah's lesson. When Cain kills Abel, he asks God, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Abraham challenges God's decree to kill the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and asks, "Shall not the judge of all the earth do justly?" It's as if the question came first and the narrative was written around it as supporting commentary. Of them all, no question is as profound as this first question, "Where are you?" Adam and Eve, having chosen to eat of the forbidden tree, having disobeyed their one commandment in order to gain knowledge, suddenly understand the cold reality of their separation from one another, from nature, and from God. And they feel shame. And so they hide. They hide from God. They hide from each other. And from all that they should and could be. Where are you? When the great Hasidic master Shneur Zalman was jailed in St. Petersburg, his jailer, a pious Christian, came to him with a question of faith. He asked, "If God knows everything, then why the game of hide and seek? Why the question, 'Where are you?'" And the rabbi looked deeply into the face of the puzzled jailer and asked him, "Do you believe that the scriptures speak to every generation?" The pious man replied in the affirmative, "Yes, I do." Well, then the question is not addressed only to Adam, but also to you. You have been alive these 44 years. Where are you? Hearing his age quoted exactly, a chill ran up the spine of the jailer. It's here, friends. The holy days are upon us once again, and if we don't ask ourselves, we will surely be asked, how many years have you been given, and where are you? Where are you on your journey? How much closer to wisdom? How much nearer to completing the tasks for which you were created? How much closer to your dreams? How much closer to those that you love? How much wider your circle of concern? How much deeper your friendships? What did you do with the gift, God's gift, of a year of life? What have you done with all of your years? Where are you? We begin each new year with a very strange attitude. We are a faith passionate in our love of life. L'chaim, recited each day. But at this time of year, with the new year upon us, we turn to the reality of death, reflecting on the unsettling mystery of the year ahead. Who shall live and who shall die? Who will attain the length of days and who will be taken before their time. Only in the reflection of death does each day, each decision, each pursuit take on its true seriousness. Life is finite and we are finite. There aren't an infinite number of tomorrows to accomplish our purposes. Knowing this, we want to hide, to evade, and to cry. Leave me alone. Let me just be with my impulses and have fun. The serious concerns of life can wait. But in one form or another, God always comes searching for us, always asking, where are you? Now, our family of 5 just spent the past week in Montana and Wyoming exploring Yellowstone National Park. And if you want proof that God exists, the majestic beauty that I saw out there is all the convincing I need. We took our kids glamping. Glamping, for those of you unfamiliar with the term, is a blend of glamour and camping. But let me be very clear, the word is 2 parts glamour and 6 parts camping. Now, I loved it. I've never actually slept so well. The air was very fresh. It was also very cold. Freezing in the morning in August in Wyoming and Montana, something my co-rabbi and husband from Florida was not very excited about. The sunsets and sunrises were peaceful and meditative. And best of all, we trapped our 3 teenage kids for a full week, often without Wi-Fi or cellular service. And I was constantly aware of how special that time truly was. Now, with one child already in college and having mostly moved out, when I now say goodnight to the other 2 each night, which I do before them because I go to sleep before they do, I realize that I won't be saying goodnight to them either for very long. When the kids were still small, so many of our older relatives and friends would say, enjoy them now, they grow up so fast. But I was too deep into diapers and strollers and carpools and trying to work. Suddenly, I recognized that they are right. This week, I found myself thinking about how child rearing, it turns out, is a relatively short-term project. The truth is, we don't really get them for very long. 18 years, that's about all. 18 years from birth until they move away to, of course, Harvard or Stanford. If your child is 5, you've got 13 years left. If your child is 8, you've got 10. If your child is 11, you've only got 7 years. Just a few years to put them to bed with a story and a song, or make them breakfast, or tack artwork up on the fridge. It's also a very few years to teach values, to shape character, and to instill a way of life. If it takes a lifetime to create a masterpiece of art or music, how do we shape the character of our kids in just a few years? We used to hope that they'd learn by example, watch us, model our behavior. But that's really difficult these days. You can't assume that by living a certain set of values that your kids will model those values. The outside culture produces too much static interference. Wi-Fi, cellular service. The media culture is powerful, it's intrusive, and sometimes pernicious. For every parental warning to think carefully and act reflectively, there's a Nike ad admonishing, just do it. It takes more than modeling to teach values, because the values that you think you are modeling, the values you think you're living, aren't always visible to your kids. When you write a check to a charity that you think is very important, how do they know? When you go to a meeting for the community, because you're the board chair or the past board chair, or you're on the board, leaving them at home with the sitter, how do they know? To raise kids with strong values, we must be much more affirmative in our efforts. We must know our own values. We must know where we are. And we have to work consciously and creatively to make our values visible. So begin with this assignment, and if you have kids that are grown and flown, or maybe don't have kids at all, you can still do this assignment. What do you want your child to take to college? Not the Toyota or the computer. What values and commitments? What ethics? Make a list of the 10 values you want your kid to have, and post that list on your refrigerator door, even now, even if your kids are gone. And ask yourself each day how these values have found their way into your home and into the people's lives who live there. Qualities of character are communicated by immersing children in an environment rich with symbols, with stories, with rituals, because they need to see and to hear and to touch your values. That's why the Torah says, Uchtavtem al mezuzot beitecha, in the Ve'ahavta. Write them on the doorposts of your house. Read your home. Read the values that are visible in your home. And not just for your kids, who for some of you haven't lived in your house for quite some time, but as reminders for you as well. Do you have a tzedakah box? Do you have Shabbat candles? Does your home, the visible and tangible environment in which you bring up your kids, does your home bespeak your deepest passions and purposes? Are there rituals in your life, rituals that communicate your ethics? Do you share stories at bedtime or holidays or special moments? Stories that help kids find their place in a greater story. Stories that really give kids the courage to face life. We have so little time for the people we love. The greatest gift that we give them is a sense of life's purpose and meaning, the values we uphold, the commitments we fight for, the passions that make life worthwhile. The rabbis warned us, Hazman katsar, v'hamlacha mireba'at. The time is short, the task is substantial. So we have to start today. As the new year begins, our tradition asks us to put our lives in order, to reflect and with forgiveness, repentance, and tzedakah, create new beginnings in our lives. So I'll end with a story. There were these two young rabbinic students, and they were making plans for their high holy day pulpits. And a few days before Rosh Hashanah, they approached the head of the yeshiva, and they asked if they might leave their studies a few days early so that they could properly put the prayers in order for the upcoming services. The head rabbi considered their request and then said, "The prayers in the book are the same as last year and the year before that. Better you should worry more about putting yourselves in proper order." Getting it all in proper order is not always an easy task. It requires honesty, courage, self-reflection, and patience. It's far easier to worry about all that goes on around us than to look at our inner world. But now is the season to look into our souls and maybe even to glimpse the image of God, because each of us was created in that image. We can see the blessing within each of us. And our task is to push the clutter of life aside, the ego, the rationalizations, the Wi-Fi, the barriers and obstacles which block our view so that we might truly stretch and search and clearly see the blessings within each of us. And maybe if we can see God reflected within, we'll be better able to recognize God when we look at others. As we are honest and considerate towards ourselves, so we should be towards our family and friends and even those we don't yet know, so that we can see the other as really a reflection of the best of ourselves, that which is divine. And so as we begin the Hebrew month of Elul this week, the month given to deep reflection about the purposes and the accomplishments and the failures of life, we're given this time to search and reflect and to study and to judge ourselves before the new year begins. It's a time to find a quiet corner of life and ask, with all the honesty and courage you can muster, where are you? It shouldn't be easy. If it is, you might be doing it wrong. to look at ourselves truthfully, without defenses, evasion, normal excuses marshaled to cover up our disappointments and our shortcomings, it can be a little frightening. But as the Jewish New Year dawns, and God knows we really could use a better year, I feel like I said that last year, so I'm going to say it again. In an all too often darkened world, let's look for that holy light, both within and beyond our hearts and minds and souls, because these days whisper new beginnings, optimism for a better tomorrow. Perhaps a new bright light will shine over us as we journey inward and so into the new year. I hope that we will share our fondest hopes and our most sincere prayers, our innermost dreams, and our treasured blessings. Shabbat Shalom. I invite you to rise for the words of Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabech ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, v'lo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kachol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We honor the memories of those whose yortzites fall on this Shabbat. We think of Paul Goldstein, Harry Markstein Jr., Eli Fogel, Shirley Davis, Tristan Gabriel Numbers, Joel Copenhagen, Herman Stark, the Honorable Milton Pollock, and Dr. Edward Stein. Our congregation continues mourning for Rich Moschel, Henry Foyer, Dr. Bob Sirkin, Aidan Becker, Robert Golden, Des Zamek, Elaine Farinacci, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Charlene Kerhealy, John Giffen, Faye Sirkin, Joyce Murray, Richard Bourne, Fran Schmerling, Peggy West, Christopher Miller, Molly Stein, Alfred Cohen, Joseph Blumenthal, Leonard Baxt, Joanne Cohen, Jack Chirac, Hilda Jackman, Peter Weiss, Mary Frank, Gersha Rogers, and Marcy Pine. Please share the names of anyone I did not at this time. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'amad yivrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom v'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may the memories of all our loved ones be every day for us a blessing. Amen. Feel free to have a seat. I'm just going to share a few announcements. All right, let's see what I've got here. Okay, my first announcement. Rabbi Flipper really wanted me to share it, so I'm going to do it. Here we go. Let's see if I can make it work. I don't know if it'll work. But I don't see any. Oh, there it is. So that is our Please Come to the High Holy Days video. We actually just sent out a survey that you should have received in your inbox. We're trying to assess those who are coming in person and to which events you'll be attending virtually so that we can be prepared and as safe as possible for all of our members and guests. So please take a moment to fill out that survey and send it back in to us. We'd really appreciate it. And tomorrow morning, as always, we have Torah study on Zoom at 9 a.m. with Rabbi Flip, followed by the bat mitzvah of Larissa Grossman here at 10:30. You, of course, can use our live stream link to link in virtually if you'd like, and you're welcome to be here masked in person. Day of Power and Prayer for Tennessee Children in Our Future. More information on our website. Choir rehearsal, Miss Lisa?
On Sunday at 4 o'clock.
Excellent. Mahjong is in person, masked this coming Tuesday. Schmooze and Views on Thursday here at 10:30. Women's Circle resumes. I'm very excited. This coming Friday at 12 o'clock. We are not yet doing lunch together, but I'm hoping that will change during the year. But 12 to 1 will be Women's Circle here. And then a week from tonight is Shabbat Shebang. It's going to be musical, lots of fun with dinner served outside afterwards, storytelling, inflatables for little ones, and we just hope the weather holds because we deserve that. I can't think of a program we planned outside in the last 18 months where the weather is held out, so this is going to be the one. Sports trivia, I think, happens the first Tuesday of every month. We have another blood drive coming up on August 29th. You can sign up online at the Red Cross. And let's see if I've missed anything. You can always follow us on multiple virtual platforms. And I think that's it. Shall we make it? Oh, Rabbi Flip wanted me to blow the shofar.
That's right, he did.
Because it's the month of Elul. It could be dicey, but I'm going to go for it. Please rise. See what happens.
Sure.
All right, let's see. I haven't done this in a year. Okay. I feel a little nervous.
It's not easy.
Okay. Yeah. And now we'll make it finish.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hilkilanu zikara l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Yalla la la la.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Yalla la la la. Yalla la yalla la. Yalla la la la. Yalla la la la. Yalla la la la. Yalla la yalla la. Yalla la la la. Yalla la la. Yalla la la la. Yalla la la la. Kiva moed. Kiva moed.
Great job.
Oh, thank you.
He's amazing.
So good. Playing.
That's great. Thanks for being
Thank you.
here. It's gonna be amazing. Thank you so much. Learn how to do all this stuff.
Thanks so much. Like, that was so amazing. Like every song, a new instrument coming out. Very impressive. And
Oh, thanks.
beautiful too.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's fun. I love doing this.
So is that a recorder?
Yes, this was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A really nice tone to it.
They're really nice. I like recorders. I used to play a lot more recorder, and then I started playing a lot more Irish penny whistle.
Okay.
And then I started playing recorder again for this. Yeah.
Okay. The only recorder sounds I know are like when kids play them, you know, and
Yeah.
the first kind of
Or Stairway to Heaven. Stairway to Heaven has the
Right,
recorder
right.
parts. But other than that, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
And then that accordion.
Oh, it's a concertina.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Those are more unusual. Yeah. They're very cool instruments.
I think concertina is often a common sound on the typical synthesizer, right? We're clicking through all the different patches, and
Oh, right, yeah.
oftentimes they have a concertina. So now I know what it actually is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just a little squeeze box. And each button is a separate note.
Okay.
So you only make chords by grabbing combinations of buttons to make chords.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, pretty neat.
Great. Well,
Thank
thanks
you.
so much.
Thank you. It took me a while to figure out that this mic is called piano vocal. Because I just kept trying them and I didn't want to turn off the wrong thing.
I should have told you that.
But then I can move it without making noise.
Ah, gotcha. Everything's very, yes, very sad.
Did you like the music? I was a fan.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure. Sure, here, let's sit.
Oh, okay, great. It's in what box? Your box, your mailbox. Oh, right, so I should put this in there. Yeah. For this week. And the check is for last week. Okay. Oh, no, of course. Yeah. Oh, right, they just said musicians. Okay,